The Hurricane of Horror, Florida's curse in a small coastal town in Florida. Everyone was preparing for the arrival of a massive hurricane called Milton. It seemed like a typical storm, much like the others that had hit the town before. But this time, there was something different, something sinister that in one of the old houses, an elderly woman named Martha lived. She had lived in the town since she was a child and always warned her neighbors about the curse of the storm, an old legend passed down through generations. According to the legend, a dark force takes advantage of storms to bring evil to the world. No one took Martha seriously. Everyone thought the hurricane was just a natural event. As night fell, and the winds grew stronger, the town's power was cut off. The residents began to feel uneasy, but they still felt relatively safe inside their homes. However, something strange was in the air. It wasn't just the strong wind or the unending rain. There were strange whispers carried by every gust. Screams, the sound of heavy footsteps outside their windows. Families began hearing violent knocks on their doors, but when they opened them, no one was there. This was happening to every household. Some people vanished suddenly, leaving their homes completely empty, as if they had evaporated in the thin AI or Diane Martha's home. She was the only one who understood what was happening. She told her neighbors who had taken refuge with her, "This isn't just a storm. Lilith isn't an ordinary hurricane. It's an ancient curse that has unleashed the angry spirits of those who died in previous storms. Now, they've come for revenge." There was no time to escape. Strange lights appeared in the darkened sky, and the storm sounds turned into terrifying screams. In every corner, shadows moved in the darkness. Spirits of people who couldn't escape Hurricane Lilith in the past. They were seeking revenge on those who were still alive that in the end, those spirits attacked the town, and no one survived. The next morning, when the rescuers arrived, they found the town completely deserted, as if no one had ever lived there. The storm left destruction in its wake, but no one knew the truth of what had happened. Every year, as hurricane season approaches, the whispers and screams begin to return with the wind, as if the storm is still looking for more victims. As time passed, the small coastal town of Florida became nothing more than a ghost story, a chilling legend passed down by neighboring towns. People would speak in hushed tones about the disappearance of the town. During hurricane season, strange things would happen. Local fishermen swore they saw lights flickering on the horizon near where the town used to be. Some claimed to hear faint whispers and cries carried by the wind, as if the voices of the lost souls were still trapped in the storm. Others reported seeing figures standing on the beach at night, looking out to sea, as if waiting for something, or someone that in the years that followed, researchers and paranormal investigators visited the site, hoping to uncover the mystery. But none of them returned with answers. The area where the town once stood was now nothing but an empty patch of land, swallowed by nature. It was as if the entire town had been erased from existence, leaving only an eerie silence and a sense of unease. But as each hurricane season approached, something strange would always happen. Residents in neighboring towns would find strange messages written in the sand near the water's edge. Words like help or run appearing after strong winds. Some claim to see ghostly figures wandering the empty streets during the worst of the storms, their faces twisted in pain, searching for an escape. It seemed that Lilith, the hurricane that brought destruction, had left a mark not only on the land, but on time itself. The curse was not bound to a single storm. It returned with each new hurricane, bringing with it the spirits of those lost and the terror of those who survived if Martha's warnings were true. The curse of the storm would never be lifted. The spirits of the damned would forever be tied to the storms that hit the coast, waiting for their next chance to claim more lives. The legend of the cursed town grew, and with each passing storm, the fear spread further inland, and no one could explain why. But during the worst storms, the power would always flicker, strange shadows would appear on the walls, and the howling winds would carry with them the faint cries of the lost souls. For those who believed in the curse, it was a reminder that nature's wrath was not the only thing to fear. There were forces far darker at play, and as the years went by, the legend of the cursed storm continued to haunt the minds of those who lived in the curse. They knew that one day the legend, or something worse, would return. And when it did, no one would be safe that in the end, it wasn't just the hurricane that took the town. It was the anger of the restless spirits unleashed upon the world, doomed to repeat their horror with every passing storm. Now, whenever a new hurricane is on the horizon, people whisper the same chilling words. The storm is coming, and with it, the dead will rise again. As hurricane seasons came and went, the neighboring towns fell into a pattern of fear and preparation. Every time the winds picked up, people would board up their homes, not just to keep out the storm, but also to shut out the whispers of the cursed town. The older residents, those who remember the stories passed down from Martha's generation, spoke of the storm in low, fearful voices. Some families began to leave offerings on their porches, candles, bread, and even small trinkets, hoping to appease the spirits said to be lurking in the winds. They believed that these offerings might keep the angry souls at bay, might stop them from entering their homes. But no one was ever sure if it worked. Occasionally, after the storm passed, those same offerings would be found scattered across the streets, untouched, as if the spirits had rejected them one particular year. A hurricane larger than any seen before was forecast to hit. It was named Evangeline, and as it grew closer, it felt as if the air itself had thickened with dread. People spoke of strange occurrences leading up to the storm, voices heard on the wind late at night, shadows that flickered across windows but disappeared when anyone looked closer. In the days before the hurricane's landfall, the whispers grew louder, and more people started to see figures moving in the distance, standing at the water's edge, just as they had before Lilith had come. The town began to panic. It felt like the curse was returning in full force, as if the spirits were gathering strength with each gust of wind. People who had never believed in the old legends started to take them seriously. A group of young locals, intrigued by the stories of the lost town, decided to film the coming hurricane and document any paranormal activity. Armed with cameras and equipment, they ventured to the area where the cursed town had once stood, determined to capture proof of the legend that as they set up their cameras, the winds began to howl and the skies darkened. The storm was approaching, but something else was coming with it. The air grew thick with tension, and the temperature dropped unnaturally. The group began to feel uneasy, as if they were being watched from every angle. They heard the whispers, the same whispers that Martha's neighbors had heard decades before. And just like then, the whispers grew louder and more distinct, as if the voices were closing in on them. Lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating the landscape in harsh white light. For a split second, they saw them, figures moving in the distance, drifting through the mist and rain. The figures weren't fully solid. They flickered in and out of existence, like shadows half caught in the storm. The group tried to film, but their equipment malfunctioned. The cameras wouldn't focus, the lights flickered and died, and their phones lost signal point one by one. The young locals started to panic. Some wanted to leave, but others insisted on staying. "We've come this far," one of them said. "We can't leave now. This is the proof we need." But the whispers grew louder, and with them came the unmistakable sound of footsteps, heavy, deliberate, as if something was slowly making its way toward them. Suddenly, one of the group members screamed. She pointed toward the horizon, where a figure stood, completely still, watching them. It was tall, its face hidden by shadows, but its presence was undeniable. As the storm raged around them, the figure began to move forward, its form shifting and twisting in the storm's winds. The group backed away, fear gripping them. The whispers now turned into cries, anguished, tormented cries of those who had perished in the cursed storm long ago. The young group fled, leaving their equipment behind, their hearts pounding in terror. As they ran through the storm, they could feel the cold presence of the spirits closing in on them. They had come too close, and now the curse was awake once more. It would not rest until it claimed new souls to be by the time the hurricane passed. The group was nowhere to be found. Their families searched, but there were no signs of them. No bodies, no traces. Just like the town before the story, they had vanished without a trace, swallowed by the storm and the spirits that haunted in the aftermath. The legend grew even darker. Now, it wasn't just the lost town that people feared. It was the storm itself and the spirits it carried with it. Every time a new hurricane approached, people would huddle inside, whispering prayers and hoping that the wind wouldn't carry away their names. They knew the curse was real, and with each storm, it grew stronger. The whispers, the shadows, the spirits, they were always there, waiting.